So, what if I told you there's a source out there, a manifesto, really, for what it calls honest science, that claims a core rule of our reality has actually been broken? That's the provocative idea we're exploring today.
The source kicks things off with this really powerful question. Just think about a law of physics you've always taken for granted. Okay, now what if a single experiment came along and completely shattered it?
But here's the twist. Instead of announcing a revolution, what if the scientific community, at least according to this source, simply changed the definition of the rule to, well, to hide the evidence? That's the mystery we're digging into. All right, so where did this all start? The author sets what they call the scene of the crime. It's this idea that our scientific map has kind of stopped matching the actual terrain of reality.
For centuries, science has run on a very simple, super intuitive idea of cause. You push a book, it falls. The cause, your push, has to physically connect to the effect, the fall. It's logical, it's local, and it just makes sense.
And then, quantum entanglement enters the picture. You have two particles linked at birth. You can separate them by miles, even light years. But here's the wild part. When you measure one, the other instantly mirrors its state. There's no physical link, no message sent between them. And right there, you see the conflict. The old rule requires a physical link, but the evidence shows an instant connection with nothing traveling in between.
And this is the core of the argument. According to the source, quantum entanglement isn't just some quirky exception. No, it's a direct, undeniable violation of that classical law of cause and effect.
So, if a fundamental law was violated, what happened next? The manifesto claims it wasn't a scientific revolution, it was a linguistic one, a kind of rhetorical alchemy, as they call it. This quote from the source really captures the essence of the argument. The claim is that instead of fixing the cracked foundation, the problem was simply painted over with new words. So how is this done? Well, the very meaning of cause allegedly shifted. It used to mean a physical mechanism, something literally making something else happen. The source claims it was redefined to be about a limit on information. The new argument became, oh, causality is safe because you can't send a message faster than light, which completely shifts the focus from physical reality to information theory. And the source is very clear on this point. It's not accusing anyone of faking data. The lab results are honest. The alleged lie, it's in the vocabulary used to explain what those results actually mean.
Okay, so if this redefinition really happened, you have to ask, what was the motive? The source dives into what it calls a culture of evasion, asking a simple question: why would anyone hide a crack in the foundation of physics?
The source suggests the reasons aren't some grand conspiracy, but something much more human and institutional. I mean, think about it. Entire careers are built on existing models. Funding flows to established ideas. Admitting a core theory is broken creates uncertainty, and that can threaten the whole system of prestige and progress.
At its heart, the argument is that science, like any huge institution, has a self-preservation instinct. Why risk the credibility of the entire enterprise by admitting a core failure? It's simply easier, the source claims, to change the vocabulary than to rebuild the empire.
But the source doesn't just point out a problem. It proposes a solution. It's a call for what it describes as a new kind of scientific integrity.
Here are the core principles. First, treat scientific models not as sacred temples, but as temporary scaffolds meant to be replaced. Second, when a law is violated by data, don't hide it, celebrate it as a discovery. Third, when a definition no longer works, let it fail openly for everyone to see. And finally, prioritize the wonder of discovery over the pride of being right.
And the manifesto grounds this call to action in history. It reminds us that all the great scientific leaps from Newton to Einstein happened precisely because someone was brave enough to admit that the old way of thinking had reached its limit. So why does any of this matter? Well, the source argues this isn't just a debate for physicists. It's about something much bigger, a fundamental question of truth.
Yeah, the argument is that this isn't just an internal debate for physicists. It's a fundamental question about intellectual honesty. How do we, as a society, react when facts contradict our most cherished beliefs? Do we change our beliefs, or do we just change the meanings of our words?
And this quote from the source really gets to the heart of it. The real danger, it argues, isn't being wrong. It's the pretense of never being wrong. The pursuit of knowledge requires humility, not the worship of certainty.
And so we're left with the central question this manifesto poses to all of us. When a core theory breaks, do we hide it to protect our certainty, or do we celebrate it as the start of a new discovery? Which do you think is the honest path forward?